What's going on, guys? Flyby Simulations here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the live developer Q&A that just happened by Asobo. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is a developer Q&A that Asobo do maybe once every month or once every 2 months to help sort of tackle all of the issues that are being faced by the community when it pertains to the simulator, as well as to highlight a sort of a roadmap for the next coming few weeks and months to show what sort of content people can expect from Asobo. Now, I've seen every single live developer Q&A ever since the start of the development of the simulator itself back in 2020, maybe even 2019, and I have to say that this one is probably the most exciting developer Q&A I've seen in terms of how information rich and how insight packed it was. So there's been tons of new information that was sort of shared by the team, including new world updates, new sim updates, something called major releases, and I'll be getting into all of this information very, very shortly. However, just before we begin, I would like to say that it takes some time to actually plan and compile these videos, so if you guys can find it in you to take a little bit of time out just to be able to like this video real quick, that would be a big help. Also, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that notification icon to be able to stay up to date with everything Flight Simulator. So without further ado, let's get started and understand what Microsoft Flight Simulator's 2022 roadmap is going to be. Alright, so starting off with the world updates, Jorg from Asobo, who's one of my favorite developers to be honest, he has such a charismatic personality, but he actually kickstarted the stream by showing off the vision for the world update releases in 2022, and this is actually quite different from what it was in 2021. If you guys remember, in 2021, the world updates were actually spaced apart by about 3 months to just about 4 to 5 months sometimes, but that is going to be changing in 2022. Starting next week with World Update 7, which is going to cover Australia, the following world updates will only be spaced 2 months apart. This means that the new world updates will be coming in March, May, June, August, and October. We will be seeing new world updates every single one of these months. Now, alongside these world updates, new local legend aircraft will also be released, according to Asobo. Now, these aircraft will be related to that specific area of the world and will release at the same time as the world updates. So think major aircraft releases from that particular part of the world. So next week for Australia, which we will be getting into in just a second, we will see a particular aircraft that is released that sort of imbibes the Australian spirit, so to speak. So every single time we get these world updates, not only will we be getting sort of great scenery enhancements and photogrammetry, but we will also be seeing new aircraft released, which is fantastic news and something that Asobo is doing very, very well in my opinion. So let's start by taking a look at World Update 7, which is Australia. So it's going to be coming on January 31st at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and as I said, it will focus on Australia. A short teaser video was shared by the team during the stream. However, I can't show that video right here on this video because of copyright reasons, so I will be showing a few screenshots from that video. However, if you do want to take a look at the entire video, I will leave a little link down in the description section of the video so you guys can go check out the full thing. The team highlighted that over 60 people worked on this update, including Orbex, who, if you don't know, is a famous accredited third-party developer for Microsoft Flight Simulator, who actually made all of the POIs and airports, POIs being the points of interest, such as major structures and buildings and so on. In particular, places such as Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, and more all received the photogrammetry treatment that we have come to expect from these world updates, making these places even more sort of visually rich. Perfect Flight also made a bunch of new missions, challenges, and discovery flight. So I'm pretty happy to see how Microsoft Flight Simulator and Asobo are collaborating with a bunch of these sort of third-party developers to actually include more content, because relying on just themselves is sort of unrealistic when it comes to catering to such a large market. So it's good that they're using these other developers to be able to actually get so much content out for us flight simmers sitting at home. Now, as for future World Update information, we also have information on World Update 8, which is going to focus on Iberia, which is Portugal and Spain. Now, the region will obviously see new visual improvements, new airports, and more as usual. In total, there are 99 points of interest being worked on, 4 new airports being worked on, as well as new missions and of course new photogrammetry cities. Jorg again also confirmed that the free world update will include 2-meter DEM for all of Spain, which is super high in resolution. So the further down you go, if you want to fly with GA aircraft and instead of airliners in the area, you will be able to see all of the majestic beauty of these countries, which is Portugal and Spain obviously. Now, just as I said a second ago, the local legend aircraft, which are these accompanying aircraft that will be released alongside these world updates, the first aircraft is a Fokker F7. So a team of 16 in-house developers at Orbex, again, worked on developing the next local legend for Microsoft Flight Simulator. They did have some issues with references, but check this out, museums helped with providing details to provide images and more, so you can see how much effort they've gone to actually create this sort of spirit within whatever place they're actually making. So if they're trying to recreate Australia and they're trying to make it into a world update, they're going to put in the required attention to detail with the aircraft they're releasing alongside that update as well, which is fantastic to see. Now, with the aircraft itself, there are 6 variations. Sir Charles Kingsford Smith's F7B 3-meter Southern Cross, a variant fitted with modern-day avionics, a ski variant, Josephine Ford it's called, a float variant, which is called Friendship, a single-engine variant, and a 3-engine variant. So not only are you getting a personally curated aircraft, but you're also getting multiple variants, and 6 variants is quite a lot. I mean, if you look at Aerosoft's 13 variants that was released with the Twin Otter, that is a payware aircraft, and we're getting all of this for free, which is fantastic. Now, as mentioned, this local legend will be coming out the same day as the Australia World Update, which is very, very exciting. Now, as for the local legend that is going to be introduced with the Iberia update, which, as I mentioned, is World Update 8, the new local legend will be the Plus Ultra, a Dornier Doge flying boat, which will be coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator, as usual, on the same day as the World Update 8 will be released. Now, this aircraft is historically significant because it was the first transatlantic flight from Spain to South America. As you guys can see, it clearly means something to the region, which is why it's being introduced alongside this world update. It is being developed by Oliver Moser, the same developer behind the Junkers that was released late last year. So again, they're collaborating with other third-party developers, which is great to see, and it's good that they're creating competition. More people are wanting to get involved in the development process, which is what this developer Q&A is all about. Alright, so moving on, let's take a look at the sim updates that are going to be released, as well as the famous flyers, that's another new term we've heard this stream, that are going to be released alongside these sim updates. So, according to the developers themselves, in addition to the local legend aircraft that will be coming alongside the world updates, the sim updates will have famous flyers released alongside them. Now, based on the information in the stream, these aircraft will be released in February, April, July, September, and November of this year. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but these months are actually alternating months between when the world updates will be released, which means we're also going to be seeing sim updates released every 2 months or so, which means we're practically going to be getting new content every month starting from March this year, which is amazing news. So we're going to be getting world update, then a sim update, then a world update, then a sim update, and so on until the end of the year, which honestly, there's nothing more you can ask for, especially if you're getting all of this content for free. Now, sim updates obviously represent something very important for the simulator. For the most part, they don't normally come with visual updates, as some of you guys might know. They normally contain performance improvements, tweaks, as well as improvements to the overall simulator experience in general. So they're very, very important, and the fact that we're getting another suite of aircraft alongside these sim updates is even more exciting. Now, as I mentioned before, the first sim update of this year should be releasing in February alongside the first famous flyer, which is going to be the Beachcraft Model 17 Staggerwing. I like the name already. Now, due to some licensing issues with Antonov for the release of the Antonov AN2, the order in which these famous flyers were to be released has changed. So alongside Sim Update 8, the first famous flyer to release will be the Beachcraft Model 17 Staggerwing. Again, I love the name. The aircraft itself is developed by Fernando Herrera at Coronado. Again, big name third-party developer working alongside Microsoft Flight Simulator or Asobo to collaborate and bring us freeware aircraft on a monthly or bi-monthly basis, which is fantastic news. Now, just some aircraft-specific news relating to this Staggerwing. The aircraft was used during wars as an air ambulance, and now it's serving as a passenger and cargo aircraft. Coronado is aiming to make the plane as realistic as possible, nothing less I would expect from Coronado, to be perfectly honest, and Fernando says that flying it in VR is extremely realistic. You know what that means? If Coronado is developing an aircraft with Microsoft Flight Simulator, which is proprietary to the sim, and he's enjoying it in VR, there's also going to be significant VR improvements for all of those VR flyers out there. The Beachcraft Model 17 Staggerwing is due to release on March 1st, 2022, so just a little after the sim update comes out. Very exciting stuff. Alright, next up, let's take a look at something that Asobo likes to call major releases, which is another thing apart from the world update and the sim updates that are going to be hitting our simulators. Now, according to the stream itself, these major releases are ways that expand the simulator in a number of ways. In the list shared, a surprise is due to release between now and May 2022. As if the world update and the sim update wasn't enough, we're now also getting more surprises. I'm like a kid on Christmas, honestly. This is fantastic stuff. After that, we will see the delayed Top Gun Maverick DLC released in May of 2022. Now, this particular DLC was supposed to be released last year. I think mid to late 2021 was the original release date. However, it is coming out in May 2022, hopefully with newer enhancements and so on. And it's going to be followed by another yet announced major release in June, and then in the fall we will be seeing the long-awaited release of gliders and helicopters, and then a final surprise at the end. So there's surprise, Top Gun, surprise, gliders, helicopters, and then another surprise. So tons of new stuff coming, and these major releases are a new way for Asobo to generate hype around the simulator, as well as to bring new content to us. Now, along with this, we also have a few sim improvements happening in 2022. Sebastian, another developer who was in the conference, opened up about what the future of the simulator looks like for 2022 through the sim updates. Helicopters, as I just said, are a big focus for the team this year. Seb said that they have implemented new propeller effects in the aircraft. This native method includes P-factor, torque, and more that is actually simulated. Now, I don't have much knowledge about helicopters, so somebody in the comments let me know what a P-factor is, but it definitely is cool, and Sebastian is obviously the technical guy on the panel, so he knows what he's talking about, and to see that they've implemented all of these fine, minute details is very, very cool. Feathering is also now fully implemented with the propellers, and 3 aircraft will get these improvements, including the King Air. The stream itself has a great explanation of how this all works, including the new CDF airflow. So again, I'll leave a link to the entire Twitch stream down in the description section of the video if you guys want to go check that out and basically want to know more than just what this condensed version offers. Now, the community as well as the developers have also been asking Asobo to implement weather and terrain APIs for independent developers as well as the community on FlightSim.2 and other freeware websites to be able to sort of play with the weather system and the terrain system to bring more add-ons to the simulator. According to the stream, however, this is still under investigation in order to expose the API for developers, and we will know more in the future. Finally, there was also talk about live weather. What is the future of live weather? Now, what one of the developers said was there's plenty of future for live weather as there's plenty to be done, which means that although we've gotten significant updates with the live weather system, them getting in contact with Medio Blue and all of these other organizations, there's still going to be further working on it to refine it and make it even better. They've also mentioned fog as being something that is being worked on quite a lot, and another improvement in the rendering system for the clouds themselves is also going to be coming in 2022. Finally, the stream kind of concluded with the team talking about how they're working with the third-party developers for the aircraft. A member of the community actually ended up asking, this is the beauty of Twitch, where you can actually interact with the panel itself. A member of the community asked how Asobo and Microsoft work with third-party developers and the sim status for complex airliners, because trust me, we're all waiting for complex airliners, that PMDG 737, that Quality Wings 787, I'm waiting for all of that stuff. So Jorg actually just replied saying, quite a few companies are working on complex planes, such as Aerosoft, DC Designs, we're working on the Concorde, Phoenix Sim is actually working on a study-level A320, Ini Builds, PMDG with their Boeing lines, quite a few are in development, and they're in contact with almost all of them and speak to them on varying degrees. Jorg added that often they invite these aircraft developers to the SDK meetings to provide feedback, which included PMDG as well as some of these other developers. He said that the SDKT is really customer-friendly and often drop everything they're doing to help someone out, which is fantastic to see how Asobo are basically making the development process as transparent as possible so that these other third-party developers can get us, the flight simmers sitting at home, the quality of aircraft that we've come to expect. Finally, for those Xbox fans out there who had the PMDG DC6 snatched from them at the very end, a member of the community also asked about how the team is handling the PMDG DC6 on Xbox coming back to the marketplace. Specifically, the team said that they were looking to bring the plane back, but what happened was that they ran into issues after the launch. This was due to the team using dev kits for Xbox, which had certain security settings different to retail units. So for the developers, some of the settings were unlocked, which is why the simulator was working just fine for them. The aircraft was working nominally. However, on consumer units, the plane was unable to work due to some restrictions, because on retail units, you obviously can't have those security settings open. That said, they are working with the Xbox platform team to make the possibility real and also keep the console safe at the same time, both of which are very important facets that they need to keep an eye on. The bad news, however, is that this may take months to fix. Now, that is quite sad. I do feel for you guys on Xbox. However, Asobo and Microsoft may have a shorter term solution in mind that they're going to come up with, maybe sort of unlocking the console for a short time, as well as coming up with a few updates to be able to get that DC6 into the Xbox as soon as possible. Now, what Jorg specifically said is that we are working with the platform team to make it real and keep the console safe. They're committed and it will take a few months. This is the reality and we've done everything we can right now. We're highly motivated and the platform or team is doing everything that they can, and we might be doing something shorter term as well to be able to help. Now, I wouldn't personally count on anything shorter term. That might have just been said to keep consumers from leaving, but then again, looking at the 2022 roadmap and what these guys have planned, I would not be surprised if it somehow miraculously solves itself. So there you go. Finally, to end things off, there were also some tidbits also shared, starting with a beta version of Sim Update 8, which will be available to test before the actual public release of Sim Update 8. Sim Update 9 will focus on stability, which means better performance optimizations, better frame rates for all of you guys working on low-end PCs and systems, as well as DirectX 12 optimizations have been happening, and DLSS has also been prototyped in the simulator. It works much better than the team hoped, according to them. Now, DLSS is great because you're going to be able to upscale your sim and play at a higher resolution, all while maintaining those smooth, buttery frame rates. Which is great news for all of you guys working on 1080p screens. And why am I saying all of you guys? I'm also on a 1080p screen, so I guess it's also going to be great for me. Another developer live Q&A will happen before Sim Update 8, which means that if Sim Update 8 is coming out in February, we're going to be getting another sort of Q&A update in a month or so. And PDF manuals for aircraft are also going to be coming, which is fantastic news, not just for the simulator itself, but also for this channel. As some of you might know, this channel was basically built on the aircraft dissected videos we do, and the more PDF manuals I have to work with, the more research resources I have, the more of those aircraft dissected videos I can produce for all of you guys sitting at home. So if you guys haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, and you will be able to watch all of those videos as and when I upload them. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so that brings us to the end of the review of this week's development Q&A. So there's tons of exciting stuff to look forward to in 2022 when it comes to Microsoft Flight Simulator, from new world updates to new sim updates to something new called major releases, to those amazing aircraft releases that are going to be released alongside those world updates and sim updates. Fantastic news all around. Now, as I mentioned before, if you guys want to stay up to date with everything Flight Simulator, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that little notification icon so you get notified every time I upload a video. Also, if you would like to join the small but thriving flyby simulations community and intimately get involved with the channel, then also be sure to join my Discord server, the link to which you can find in the description section of this video. Also, jump into the comments and let me know what you guys are thinking about all of this news. The new world update schedule, the sim update schedule, all of this news is quite new and it's very exciting, so let me know what you guys are thinking. I'd love to have a chat with you guys down there. As usual guys, thanks for flying by.